So we got the developer update from DBD that has just been announced. There's a lot to talk about, so let's jump on into it. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and the developer update for August has just dropped on us. DBD just tweeted this out, and we're going to take a look at all of the information that they provide. If you do enjoy, leave a like down below and subscribe for some more DBD content like this. Don't forget, we are live on Twitch today as well. I would love to see you there. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at all of the things that they mentioned and spoke about in this developer update. The first thing is that the Bloodweb costs are going to be reduced. They said that last month we overhauled our progression system to make it easier than ever to earn perks. Under this new system, perks are now unlocked through prestige and are immediately available to use on other characters without needing to be found in the Bloodweb. Higher tier versions of the perk can be earned with subsequent prestiges or randomly throughout the Bloodweb. Along with these changes, we removed the blood point bonuses from 2 perks, barbecue and chili, and we're gonna live forever. As some of you have rightfully pointed out, without these bonuses, you could afford fewer blood nodes per match, making it harder to earn items, add-ons, and offerings. We wanted to remedy this as soon as possible. With the release of Resident Evil Project W chapter, we are reducing the cost of nodes in the Bloodweb by roughly 33%. So you can see here that the events, the commons, the uncommons, everything is super cheap. You are going to only be paying 5,000 for an ultra and 4,000 for a very rare, which is a fantastic change. I do fear though that in the future, and I'm sure they'll address this when the time comes, when a person has pretty much everything and there's nothing really to grind for, all of these changes are nice now, but then there's not too much that you'll need to do. You know, you'll already have everything on everybody. Everything will be cheap. You'll be earning so much blood points. I'm sure they'll tackle this problem when the time comes, but for now, soak it up and use it while you can. Expect these changes for the blood web costs to come out when the chapter is dropped. Moving on forward, they then said that camping and tunneling is going to be addressed yet again. They mentioned that in the mid-chapter, they added the 5 seconds of endurance and haste effects to all unhooked survivors. These effects are designed to give the unhooked survivor a fighting chance by allowing them to get to a nearby pallet or window if the killer decides to chase them again. They said that in 6.2.0, they are increasing that duration of haste and endurance to 10 seconds. Additionally, they'll be increasing the haste effect by 10%. So now, whenever you unhook somebody, they will rapidly be able to get to any safe location, as well as to have that endurance status effect in case the killer still decides to chase them. With 10 seconds, you'll have a lot of time to find a pallet, a vault, or anything to continue your chase if the killer decides to continue to tunnel you, which most killers will probably not do anymore because there's no real sense of doing it unless you're trying to take a hit and then time just runs out. 10 seconds is a very, very long time though. You would basically be wasting your time if you're trying to take another hit. I think this is going to be pretty good, and it could be a nice solution to camping and tunneling. Borrowed time is something I want to see, like what happens with borrowed time. How much crazier is that going to be? How much time is that going to give you? I'm very interested to see how those changes will play out when it's fully implemented into the game. Next, we have Medal of Man changes, which is really nice. They said in the recent update, we've updated a new version of Medal Man, which work consistently with other endurance effects. Many of you voiced concerns with the version of the perk being weaker than before, favoring a harder to earn that couldn't be lost. Our intention with this change was never to make the perk weaker. Therefore, alongside the chapter release, we will be reverting the recent update to Medal of Man. Medal of Man will instead grant a unique protection effect that is not cancelled by conspicuous actions like endurance. To help differentiate them, this perk will no longer cause the endurance status effect to appear in the HUD when activate. So Medal Man is completely different now. They reverted the changes and it is really, really awesome. So that's pretty cool. They then talked about post-PTB changes. This is for when we played with Wesker, the 2 new survivors, Raccoon City, all that stuff. Let's jump on into the changes to the Mastermind. There's both buffs and nerfs, which is really good. So let's talk about the first thing. They said, we'll start with the Mastermind himself, Albert Wesker. We noted that in the PTB, the collision detection on the Mastermind rush was too sensitive. So for the release, they've torn this down so you don't accidentally bump into obstacles as often. So that's really nice. We won't be able to bump into objects as much, which is really, really good. They said they also polish the bound interacts with pallets and windows. They said that during the PTP, survivors would not take damage if the mastermind bounded towards him and they were vaulting. This was not intentional. The mastermind will now hit them with his tentacle if they're caught in the middle of a vault. Additionally, survivors could wait on the other side of a pallet, vaulting back over it before the mastermind could attack after vaulting. Going forward, standing too close to the vault location as the mastermind bounds over it will result in a survivor being injured. Now that is huge because there's been many times where people just run back into me when I vault over a pallet or a window, and I've been doing that to people as well. So this change is actually really big. So now that makes it so when you do vault, even though it's slower, the person has to run away. If they try to mind game you or anything like that, wait by the pallet, they will take damage or potentially even go down if they're already injured, which is absolutely huge for Wesker. They then said they've revisited his power in loops. They found that the base movement speed between bounds was a little bit low. As a result, the mastermind's movement speed of bounds is now up to 2.6 from 2.3, or 2.7 I should say, from 2.3. The speed previously achieved by using the loose crank add-on. So basically they're making that into the base kit, and they've reduced its movement speed from 8 to 8 from 20. That's with the add-on itself to compensate for the new 2.9 that you would be getting. So that's really good. That makes it super fluid when you're playing as the mastermind, and you can move way faster when you're using your bounds. They said one of the quirks of the ability is to throw survivor at each other, injuring both survivors in the process. Oftentimes, those unfortunate enough to have friends flung at them will not realize that they've been injured. To make it more obvious, being injured from a survivor thrown by the mastermind will now cause deep wounds. So now, if you are being thrown, you'll have deep wounds instead of having you're just injured, you don't know what's going on. And they said, last but not least, they slightly toned down the survivor collision detection of the mastermind's bound. We found that this was a little bit too generous in the PTP, allowing the killer to grab survivors that were not in front of them. This change will require a little more precision on the killer's part to make the bound feel fairer to survivors. So all in all, pretty good buffs and changes to the mastermind, and I'm very happy to see it. There is that minor tweak obviously with the survivor collision detection, but that's just smoothing out the rough edges. Overall, I think Wesker is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I'm happy with the changes that they did. They definitely did more than I thought they were going to do, so I'm very happy. Let's talk about these perks. What changes do we see from the perks? First of all, we have Reassurance. Basically, as you know, Reassurance had a 40-second cooldown. If anyone was on the hook, you could run to them, pause their timer, and you could keep this going over and over and over. They said for the release, they have removed the cooldown of Reassurance. Instead, Reassurance can only be used once per hook instance, and this effect of this perk can still be chained together if multiple survivors are running it for a maximum of 90 seconds. This will keep the perk status potent without being super abusable. So this is really good. You won't be able to use it multiple times yourself, but you will be doing it multiple times with other people, which is absolutely fantastic. Don't take that out of context. But yeah, you can get up to 90 seconds of extra time on the hook, a minute 30, which is really good, and it won't be abused anymore, and I'm pretty happy with this. Awaken Awareness, I'm kind of sad about this one because I really did like this perk, and running it with Lethal Pursuer, well, that was the issue that they found. This effect lingered for 2 seconds after the carry survivor is dropped. Paired with Lethal Pursuer, the aura effect was pretty potent with Starstruck and certain killers. So as a result, Lethal Pursuer will no longer extend the duration of Awakened Awareness, which is completely fine. Low profile, one that I didn't really care too much about. They said that low profile hides your scratch marks and pools of bloods when you're the last survivor. Unfortunately, this will only activate once per match, and only if it happened to be the last survivor. For the release, they've changed this to include any time you are the survivor who is not dying, hooked, or dead as well, allowing it to activate throughout the match. Allowing low profile will also mask your grunts of pain in addition to its existing effects. Now, think about that for a second. That is absolutely crazy. So this will now hide your scratch marks, your pools of bloods, and not make you have grunts of pain for 90 seconds anytime you're not the survivor that is dying, hooked, or dead. So this is kind of like off the record in a sense, except you also have that grunts of pain. So it's really good. It's a pretty good perk. Unlike Off the Record, though, it doesn't look like you'll be able to recharge it or anything like that. I might be am I confusing perks? I don't think I am. I think Off the Record does something very similar where it hides your blood and grunts of pain as well. So very similar, if I do say so myself. I might be just saying randomness here, but I'm pretty sure those two perks will now be a little bit more similar. Anyways, carrying on. Better Than New is the next perk that has been reworked. This perk grants a 6% action speed bonus to repairing, healing, chest opening, and totem cleansing for 35 seconds. We have found that the duration was a little too low, and they decided to use it out of the bonus speed. For the release, they made the changes. Better Than You now grants 12, 14, and 16% to action speed bonus to healing, chest opening, and totem cleansing and blessing. Better Than You no longer has a duration. Survivors instead keep the bonus until the next time they take damage. And they finally said that RPD is going to have a reduction of pallets because they thought it had way too much pallets on the east and the west wing. With that being said, that pretty much wraps up the developer update in the coming weeks, and they look forward to what we think of the changes. And there you go, my friends. That is the developer update. I'm pretty happy with that. Those are some pretty solid changes that I wasn't expecting them to do. I really like the buffs they did to Wesker. The perks are all right. I really like that the Bloodweb is going to be cheaper. Hopefully, it doesn't become an issue in the future. And all in all, a solid developer update. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like down below. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. As always, I'm the king. I tip my crown to you guys. Don't forget to check us out on Twitch. Shout out to you guys, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.